Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Holton Talks. Today is myself, Scott Acton, and Jamie Acton is with me. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good. Obviously, normal football resumes at the weekend. No Premier League, but FA Cup is back. We're going to talk about that. Before we get on to that, we're going to touch on England as it's been internationals. Um, Rashford and Konsa started both games. Maybe a surprise. Maybe a surprise for both of them from the wider audience. I don't think we'd be surprised about Konsa starting both. Rodgers obviously got a start in the second game. How do you think all three of them did?
Yeah, I thought Esri was his usual self. I thought, further stating the obvious to what Villa fans know is that he is England's best centre half. He is, it's, everything he does was just top. Gave an interview as well. Don't know if you saw in between the Albania game and the game on a Monday against Latvia. He said about how he wants to be more of a leader, and Tuchel basically has said to him that he kind of sees him being that player for England. A leader not just in the dressing room but on the field, commanding the back line. And Esri said that that's what he wants. That's what he wants to add that to his game. So he obviously sees him part of the core team, and I feel the way that Tuchel plays it's Ezri's bread and butter, playing out from the back, playing high, aggressive. But yeah, no, I thought Ezri done well. I thought Rashford done well, more so in the second game than the first. I thought he done all right in the first. I thought he was much better and more brave than Foden in the first game. Than the second game, I think it was something like 17 crosses. I think he got in.
Yeah,
In the end, he played really well, playing for both sides as well, so not just the left. And then Rodgers didn't have that great an impact in the first game. He only got limited minutes, but the second game against Latvia, he was, in my opinion, man of the match. Obviously, I think they gave it to Reece James in the end. It was some free kick. You can't really argue with it, but Rodgers was definitely in the running for that. I think I saw a stat saying that nobody has completed more dribbles in 90 minutes for England since Grealish in 2023, I think, against North Macedonia. So it just goes to show, his first start, he's had the most dribbles of any England player in 2 years in a single game. So yeah, I thought all round done really well.
yeah. I mean, it's tough for obviously, like we said, we know how good Konsa is. For the Rashford one, when you're playing against teams that are just sitting in on a low block, it is hard for the wingers, regardless. You know,
Mm.
so I felt some of the criticism he got was a bit unjust after the first game, um, but not surprising because I think they're still out to get him, and they not really had the chance to really have a go at him since he's come to Villa. So I kind of felt it was first chance they could give him a bit of negative criticism. They were going to jump all over it. Um,
Yeah, it's like he's kind of like gone into hiding in like the national media since he's come to Villa. Like I think I said to you, then when we were up there a month or so ago, that those first few weeks they didn't post him or on any social media platform at all. They done the Sassy and Asensio behind the scenes, the Marlon and Garcia behind the scenes when they signed that, but they never revealed the Rashford one, and I think that was because they just wanted to keep him out of the media. So it all died down, and then obviously when England comes about, to some people it was a shock, and that he was even called up, yet let alone starting both games. So like I said, it's just a reason to go back at him because you think of all the players in the country, he's probably the number one target for those journalists.
yeah, 100%. And Konsa, I mean, yeah, I love Konsa. He's one of my favourite players at the moment. Has been for a long time, and I just think now it's so good that he's getting a wider audience. He's just very comfortable, a bit like what Rio Ferdinand was. You know, that kind of
Mm.
that kind of profile. Good on the ball. Um, Never really looks too troubled. So good at buying a free kick.
Mm.
Um, just yeah, top player. That lead, one of Villa's most important, and will lead into that. John Percy has been reporting that Boubas Kamara is in talks for a new contract, which, if true, and if they do it in the summer, that could be signing of the summer for us already. That important.
Yeah, well, not even just the summer, we signed in 2025. I mean, I think for me that he's our best outfield player. Um,
Yeah,
for me personally, just the what he brings give us so much solidity. If we, I'm going into this PSG game away from home, thinking if you know, obviously we don't know what's going to happen, but I am optimistic, and the only reason I'm optimistic away from home is because we have Kamara. Because if we ain't got Kamara in there and we have a double pivot of Tielemans and McGinn, I just don't feel defensively sound, and with Kamara in there sitting in front of the back four that have kept a couple of clean sheets recently, you know, yeah, he's unbelievable on the ball. And if you think about it, actually, for his position and the type of player he is, he doesn't actually give away many fouls as you would think. You look at these other players that, like how we play a high line, etc. You expect it to give away fouls, especially when teams sit in and they try to catch us on the break, on transition, because, if you foul someone as on a counter attack, 9 times out of 10 it's a yellow card. He's always so spot on with his challenges, and he doesn't give away many fouls, and he's so smart on the ball. And yeah, overall, it's like I said, I feel like if we pin him down to a new contract, I think that'll be signing of 2025.
yeah. Do you know what? I feel like he's actually got when he come back from the last big injury, he's actually got better on the ball. He was good on the ball anyway, but I feel like he's taking a few more risks. He's maybe getting forward a little bit more when he can. He's just so good. I mean, and again, I don't think he's necessarily uh, as rated to a wider audience. But obviously, to Villa fans, everyone knows how good and how important he is to what we will need going forward. And like you said, the PSG game, he is got to be first outfield name on the team sheet, surely.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like I says, like home and away, obviously we're going to have to soak up a lot of pressure. That's what he's perfect at. And just touching on what you says about the whole injury, he's come back and he's actually better on the ball. It works like that sometimes. In funny ways. It's a funny game, football. When I was playing before, when I was younger for Crawley, I tore my groin, and I came back so much better on the ball because I spent, it was 8 or 9 months out in total. But for those 8 or 9 months, I just kept studying players, better players on the ball, and I learned not even through playing, but just through visualizing what they were doing, how they would pass, how they would press, everything. You know, I'm not saying he's done that, but I'm just using it from my own example that, when I got injured, when I came back, I was, so much better on the ball and so much calmer on the ball. And, like he says, he seems to just be so good on the ball. And like I says, the line breaking passes, again, not as much as what Tielemans does, but, he weren't doing those before, and yeah, it's just good to see. He's come back from injury. He doesn't look like that injury's held him back in any way. He's got better. I'm just surprised the fact that he hasn't, been called up for France on a more regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if he didn't have, because he has over the last couple of years, he has had of the season where he'd be out for 6 weeks, 2 months. Maybe that's a reason. And the internationals
Mm.
at the wrong time. I mean, yeah, this time around, maybe it was too soon. Maybe the next set of internationals he'll get the call. I mean, France are heavy in that in that midfield, and they got a lot of good players. France.
Yeah, and then obviously Deschamps loves, his play. I mean, the famous duo he had was Kante and Pogba. See, Pogba's done himself in, but Kante still gets picks. Obviously, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, the list goes on and on. But the thing is that they're all versatile. And obviously Kamara is that as well. If I'm honest, the way we're at, I'm not actually fussed about him getting picked for France because he plays for France. He plays in the major tournaments. He starts. There's more eyes on him, and we're not that regular Champions League setting team yet. So
Yeah,
it'll be quite easy for a team to be like, okay, yeah, we'll get him from a so-called lesser club. Whereas if in another 18 months, 2 years, if we qualify for the Champions League consecutively or whatever, and then he gets picked, it's like we have a stronger hold on things, if that makes sense.
yeah. Well, I think that's the other thing with giving him a new contract is you're tying down your asset. Um, get him on a free, and to lose him on a free would be pretty devastating when he's probably one of your most valuable players.
Well, so it's a whole situation with Trent at Liverpool, isn't it? Like, you're going on a free, arguably one of your best players. If that was happened to Booba, if we'd sell Booba now, you're probably talking like 65, 70 million. Whereas if he goes on a free, it's the same thing with Trent. If they were to sell Trent last summer, they would have been getting near on 100 million. Whereas now he's going for free.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, the whole world of PSR, and I'm not saying, listen, I'm not putting out there that we'd give him a new contract and sell him, but he would be one of our more valuable players. Um,
Yeah, and it's the way that football is now because, like, I mean, you're not even at football saying it. It's like they know deep down that there's going to be a Mahrez or Kamara. Well, there already is. That's hence why they're tying him down to a contract. Well, they're trying to. If they're going to have in the back of their mind that if we keep playing well, other teams are going to want Kamara, and if we tie him down to a new deal, yeah, it keeps him here for longer. It keeps one of our important players here for longer, but it also keeps his value up.
yeah,
And they're going to know that deep down because in the back of their head they're going to know that the big boys are going to come calling at some stage.
yeah, I can't see Emery wanting to lose him either. I mean, I know, like, depth wise, when everyone's fit, we are, quite well stacked in the middle, but he would be the one you wouldn't want to lose. Him and Tielemans. I'd rather Onana went than, you know,
100%. I think him and Tielemans for what they do. I think it is again like you look at Barkley, Onana, McGinn. Those players are still like top half Prem players comfortably, in my opinion. But I think Tielemans and Kamara are top four players. Like they are two of the best midfielders in the Prem.
yeah.
So I think that we're stacked in that position, but I still feel like the drop off from them two to Onana, McGinn, or Barkley is quite heavy.
I think the drop off to Onana and Barkley in particular, McGinn obviously would do the role slightly different. I think that's why we've missed Barkley. Maybe not so much the last few games, but like the last 20, 30 minutes of matches, just to come on and calm it down. Not necessarily
Mm.
starter, but he was obviously doing that role really well. And Onana, well, who knows what's going on with him?
Oh
Hopefully.
yeah. Although, like I say, you don't know what's going on. I mean, a similar thing with Barkley. They come back, they get injured, they come back, they get injured, and it's just
I mean,
I
Barkley didn't go to Dubai, did he? Not that I saw.
I can't. I'm not sure. If I'm honest with you, I don't know.
And I just, this is in my head. Did you watch on Villa TV put up, obviously, day one training, day two training, day three?
Yeah,
Um, I, did you watch them?
I watched a couple of them. I don't think I watched all of them, but I did watch a few of them.
I know, listen, you're only going on a small snippet, but Anana, go back and watch him. Every time you see Anana, he's probably having 5, 6, 7 touches of the ball, where Kamara's obviously playing next to him in the small games that they're doing and having 2 touches. And
Mm.
every clip of Anana was so slow and on the ball, and I just thought, like, is that just bad luck on his part from of how they filmed it? Or like maybe that's the reason why he's not getting in the team.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think Onana brings a different profile to what anyone in the team brings. Like, I mean, he has that physicality, the height. Obviously, he can play the Boubas role. I can't see him. I can't see a duo of Onana and Kamara without, if that's the case, then Tielemans has to be in front of them making a free.
What about
Um,
PSG away? Would that be something that you, if Anana comes in, plays well for the next 3 or 4 games, gets some minutes, do you think that might be something that he'd do for the away match?
yeah, could do. But then again, you have to have Tielemans playing, so it would require Tielemans playing off of Watkins.
Yeah.
And then if Tielemans is playing off of Watkins, you've then got two positions out wide, and you've got Asensio, Rashford, JJ, Rogers, Bailey. You obviously Ollie's going to start up front. It's like, who's you playing those positions? Because your first two that come to mind is Asensio and Rogers, but that they're not exactly the quickest. So any goal we're going to get away is going to come through sheer pace. Even at home, we're going to have more possession than us at home, so we have to be quick on transition. And are we going to be with them too? I'm not sure, but yeah, no, I could again with Onana and Kamara, I can see it, but you still have to have Yuri in there, so he'd have to, like I said, make up a free in the middle. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, you've got so much depth. It's just you just don't know what goes on with Barkley and Onana half the time because whenever they feel like they're getting a bit closer, something always happens.
Yeah, I think now to the end of the season, the big one for Anana. Listen, they're not going to sell him in the summer. I'm not saying that, but I just think in terms of even next season and going forward, I think he needs to be fit and be involved in most of the games now. We're getting into the business end of the season.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It's like, I don't know if you notice as well. I mean, this has become like a Onana hate watch,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah, it's not
but
that.
like, but like. One major criticism I have of him is that he seems to milk everything that every time he gets tackled, he milks it.
Oh, he's
And it's
always.
just like, yeah, but like, do you remember Everton at home? He got tackled fairly. I can't remember who won the ball of him, but they've won the ball fair, and he's gone down holding his ankle. But they showed the replay. You imagine that never touched his ankle, and then Anon's got him started running up again. Like 5 minutes later, it's just annoying because a player of that profile, what he's in there to do, why is he going in light-hearted? Why is he milking it? But that's for another thing. I don't want to talk about it too much.
We'll save that for end of season review when we speak about. But
Yeah, we'll save it for the end of the season review when we sell him for 12 million to relegate Southampton.
yeah, when we do an award for biggest flop of the season.
Yeah.
Um. Right. Let's go on to Sunday. So obviously the players that weren't on international did have a friendly, which Villa won 3-1. Did you see the goals?
I have done.
So another worldie from Asensio, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the opposition you take with a pinch of salt because, I mean, that Asensio goal, he's literally played a bounce pass with Kamara that's travelled so far and taken so long to get back to him, and it's just like he's just ran through, and obviously the finish is hard, but I'm more on about like from the opposition's perspective
I
as
know.
defensive.
Yeah. Did you see their goal?
Ty, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's been brilliant. So let's hope that that was his one little brain fog moment, and you know,
The thing is with Ty, defensively, aerially, like he's arguably,
oh, incredible.
uh, like his like no one puts. We ain't got a centre half life that puts his body on the line like that, and we need him again. We'll need him against PSG because obviously, like I said, for literally what I said, balls in the box, body on the line. He's our number one guy. But throughout his time at Villa, he has had those moments where you go, ooh, it's just like a lapse in concentration. Not out of possession; it's always in possession.
Yeah,
And he's had like the one against Liverpool that Martinez had to come out for Nunes. He had obviously that Club Brugge away game. I don't know what happened there in the group phase. Obviously the friendly as well. But yeah, it's just when it, like he just has that slight out of possession. I do think again he's a top half Prem player. In possession, I do feel like that's where it's lacking. He's not bad by any means, but it just seems like in possession he's always that bit slow, and he seems to take that bit longer on the ball. And that's what Pau Torres does that, but Pau will break lines with his passes. He's like whereas Ty would just play it left to right, left to right, left to right, or to the DM or whatever. And yeah, I mean that's the only criticism I've got of him. But he has done that in the past. It wasn't just that friendly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, and again, we won't. Some people wouldn't have seen it, so but he obviously dwelled on the halfway line, and they did score. Hopefully, it was just that doesn't happen in a quarter final of the FA Cup or a quarter final of the Champions League, because he'd get a lot more, be under a lot more scrutiny if it did.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're back. Hopefully, that's worked. I know we didn't have loads of first team players out there, but going obviously into Preston, I know we spoke about in the last one, I think, about would you rather have had games going into it, or is it a good way to get back into it and then big game straight away? You got to be up for it. Yeah, so listen, on paper we've got probably the second best result other than getting Preston at home, and we probably won't have another better opportunity of getting into a semi-final in the FA Cup for over many years. So it's one that we've got to go and grasp with two hands and just get the job done.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like we spoke a little bit about in the last pod, but it's not. It's finding that fine balance between like being confident, knowing who we are. We're a Champions League club. We've got all these players on these wages. Players like I said, we was on about Kamara. He's an £80 million player just like that, and it's finding that's like confidence, but then it's finding the right balance between that and arrogance. You don't want to go there and play like rotate 7 or 8 players and expect that you're going to win, because at the end of the day, it's not like that, and they will turn us over. Like they will turn us over if we go into there with any hint of complacency. I don't think we will, because I mean Emery is known. I know he hasn't proved it much while he's been in his time at Villa, but you look at his CV, he is very much a cup manager. All the Europa Leagues he's won. I think in PSG he won seven honours in 2 years. Um, he's very much again by the worldwide media as a cup manager. So there will be no complacency from his part. He will drill that into the players as well. But again, it's just finding that right balance between we're a Champions League club, we should beat these guys, but then also respecting them and knowing of their threats.
Yeah. I just their last five, Preston, they have uh, four in the league. They've won one of those, which was the last game against Pompey. They won 2-1. Draws against Swansea and Sunderland, and they lost 1-0 to Sheffield United. They did beat Burnley in the last round in the FA Cup 3-0, which is obviously, if you know Burnley's stats for obviously not conceding goals this season, is quite a fascinating result, really.
With that Burnley game, I know Burnley on the ice, it's a bit of a wow
They changed,
result, but yeah, Burnley made a lot of changes that game.
which they're obviously putting their focus on getting promoted. Mm,
Yeah, and they probably looked at after the win, thinking, well, going into the Preston game, thinking, well, who are we realistically going to get? Anyone away from home is basically a write off,
yeah,
So yeah, I think they probably done what's right from a Burnley perspective. But yeah, that was a very changed team, but still they got the job done 3-0.
yeah. So I was actually looking. So they're 14th in the league, won 10, drawn 17, and lost 11. At home, they're actually still 14th in the home table, won 7, drawn 10, and they've only lost 2 at home in the league all season. And I said to you earlier tonight, only for the overall championship season, only 6 teams have actually lost more. But they're 14th for a reason. You shouldn't be the team with the 7th best defensive record and be sat 14th in any league. Um,
Mm.
so obviously scoring goals may be an issue. But like you said, I think we got to go stamp our authority on the game straight away and just turn up and be like, we're the Premier League team, we're a Champions League team, we want to get to the semi-final. We don't care where you are, and we're going to just go and get the job done.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of players from that warm weather training camp will play. Obviously, for me, I can't see Rashford playing just because, again, JJ's been in that. Rashford's come off of, you know, two long games, one of them getting 90, and then, you've had JJ that hasn't played any top level football, uh, minus that, obviously, with that friendly, been involved in that camp, so obviously you and I would have been drilling Preston into him ever since our last game. So I'll probably expect JJ to play. But again, it's like Marlon has had a lot of minutes. I know he's played for Holland as well in international break, but it's like, do you put Marlon in because he hasn't had a lot of minutes? But then you want to find the right balance between you want to win the game, so you shouldn't even contemplate putting players in for sharpness. But then again, flipping that on his head again, you have Marlon, a Champions League level player. He should be able to go in to this game and still play well. It's finding that balance between how you approach the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll change it up that much. I've written a team which I think he will go for, and I've done Emmy in goal. Obviously, I know we probably get back late from Argentina, but he's got to play. Kashi, Constant, Mings, and then I've actually said maybe Matson at left back. Kamara, Yuri, JJ, like you said, Rogers as a 10. I've said maybe McGinn as wide right, and then I put Ollie slash Marlon. Not so much to mix it up, more so we obviously still don't know if Ollie is carrying a knock or what state obviously he's in.
Yeah, true. Like, I mean, even I forgot about that because obviously he went off, didn't he? In our last game. Yeah, I mean, McGinn again. He played 180 minutes. I watched about 60 minutes of the game against Greece where they got battered. They were awful on, what was it? Monday night, Sunday night, I think it was. They got absolutely battered. They were so bad, and McGinn still looked okay. He still looked all right, but on the ball he was okay. But it's just he looked absolutely knackered.
Yeah,
So it's just
one of them games where if things don't go great for the first 10, 15 minutes and you need a bit of grit in your team, you know, he might play Asensio maybe and Rogers out wide or Bailey out wide, but obviously Bailey's been with Jamaica. Asensio didn't go with Spain, so maybe Asensio.
he was
But
carrying a little bit of a knock as well, wasn't he? Apparently for
um,
the international break, wasn't he?
yeah, so you know,
I feel like obviously we're gonna have a lot more of the ball. They're gonna sit in for large chunks of the game. We need players to break the team down. Obviously, you have players like JJ, Rogers, Rashford who are ball carriers. You need someone to be threading those passes through, like Tielemans, like Asensio. Um, so yeah, I do feel like I wouldn't be against playing Asensio. But Bailey played 180 minutes for Jamaica as well. So that, again, in their head, they're probably thinking, if we play Bailey now, is he going to be knackered come next game? I don't know. But for me, I just feel like he's going to you rely on the players that he went away to Dubai with.
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm sure Emery knows best, so you know, hopefully he just picks the right team and we go and get the job done. I mean, like I said earlier, we're not really going to get a better chance of going potentially getting into a semi-final in FA Cup. Um,
Even if you look at the other quarter-final draws, you know, barring obviously City, even though they've had quite a poor season. Take obviously they're away at Bournemouth, I think. So take City out of it. Semi-final one off at Wembley. I think we're favourites against any one of those other teams, in my opinion, in a one-off game.
yeah,
Because obviously, if it's away from home, it's different. If you're going away to Bournemouth, away to Brighton, Palace, it's different. But Wembley semi-final, one off, neutral, barring City, I think we're the next best team in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if you get through and you can avoid Newcastle or City, then
Newcastle Lion, they got knocked out by Brighton.
yeah, there you go. Then one team's already gone.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
knocked out by Brighton, didn't they? Danny Welbeck won it extra time at St James's Park. It was like 10 v 10, wasn't it?
Yes.
They
Yeah.
both went down to 10 men.
Yeah. Well done. I'm looking at Preston stats here for goals.
Yeah, what's it saying?
It's not really.
They got they,
They
they
got that
got that
Reese up front, Emmy Reese. Sam Greenwood plays for them as well. Really good set piece taker.
Is that the same Greenwood that came from Leeds?
Leeds. He was at Borough on it for a bit.
Yeah, no, I've rated them to be fair. What? Yeah, they got the big man up front. No,
Yeah.
obviously, was in the media for that whole racial abuse bollocks.
Yeah. That Magic or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but he's a handful. But again, that's where
Well, I think
that's
that's
where you want.
like their highest assist maker, Kane Kessler Hayden, but obviously he can't play.
That's actually it's an underrated point at the time, really, because he's been one of their best players this season. So to have him not play,
Yeah, I mean, feel for it, but if you guys didn't get the winner, then you would have no sympathy. So, unlucky. Just one of them things.
I'm happy he's not playing. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, they got a few obviously interesting players. I do think if we can, get not get the job done, but be up, I think you will see minutes for Al, and you'll see minutes for Anana, Marlon. Hopefully, if he doesn't start, um, and then we got a game Tuesday or Wednesday, haven't we? Brighton Tuesday or Wednesday.
Brighton, it was scheduled for a Tuesday, but I know it might have got moved for coverage. So it's Tuesday or Wednesday, yeah.
Um, so yeah, ideal world, you're up, you can mix the minutes up at least and get everyone. Yeah, Brighton's the second, which is the Wednesday. You can obviously mix it up a bit, but what are you going for? Prediction?
I think we'll definitely win, but it's just more so the fact of clean sheet or not. I don't know. We have actually been quite defensively sound recently. You think they've been away without a game for a couple of weeks? They would have drilled even more defensively into them. The Sassy's been class. Yeah, I'll go clean sheet 2-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1 Villa.
Have I got a prediction right yet? Because I know you were winning the.
No, I've just written it down. You haven't. Aaron hasn't either.
How many you got?
I got one right.
What
What
one was that?
on? I think the first one that after the first episode we did what 6 weeks ago, something like that, 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Beginner's luck.
yeah. Sod's
Uh,
law in it.
yeah. We'll send another well wish to Aaron because he really liked that last time. He's
Yeah, and I really liked it. Yeah,
bad.
prayers go out to Azzy.
Uh, yeah, they start soon. Um,
Uh,
right, that'll do us. FA Cup Sunday. Uh, I just want Villa to win the FA Cup so Dad can see it more than I think even me.
yeah.
And the same
Uh,
for your dad.
yeah, we said it so many times. I'll take losing every single game if it meant us winning the
I know.
FA Cup this season.
Yeah, when Villa, well, it doesn't happen often, but yeah, I sent Dad a message after every game. Maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year. So fingers crossed, we can go and get the job done, and
And
we'll be back after the Preston game, and we will talk probably Preston and then Brighton at the same time. and then back into a busy schedule of fixtures again.
I'm actually leaving for Turkey on the Monday, so I probably won't reach you and Az.
Yeah. So for all the viewers that want a really happy take on the FA, tune in. Um,
Yeah.
because we're doing this before Mothering Sunday, we'll say Happy Mother's Day so we don't leave out Kim. And hey,
Uh,
better get her and she'll have the Anta voice.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, listen, we will. Well, I'll be back. You probably won't be. You'll be back probably after your trip to Turkey. And for
yeah.
anyone, he's not getting his teeth done.
No, I'm not.
I think they can't say, actually.
Let us know in the comments what you think if you're still watching. Uh,
Yeah.
like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. We'll keep trying to grow the new channel and up the villa as always.
At the Villa.